Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudhirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Ruttamaśloke Bhaktirbhavati Naistike Om Ajnana-timirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. We are reading from Canto 4, Chapter 5, Frustration of the Sacrifice of Dakṣa. So we are in the final section of this chapter, text 19 to 26. Activities of Vīrabhadra are highlighted here. So we come to text 20. Bhagasya netre bhagavan patitasya rushabhuvi ujjahara sadasyoksha yah shapanta anusuchat. Translation.
Vīrabhadra immediately caught Bhaga, who had been moving his eyebrows during Bhrugu's cursing of Lord Shiva, and out of great anger thrust him to the ground and forcibly put out his eyes. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. So Vīrabhadra, taking over everybody's power, he immediately caught Bhaga, the demigod.
Prabhuji, you are not audible. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, you are not audible.
There must be some connectivity issue, Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji, okay.
Yeah, so I'm back. Sorry. Vīrabhadra immediately caught Bhaga, who was moving his eyebrows during Bhrugu's cursing of Lord Shiva and Lord Shiva's followers, and out of great anger, thrust him to the ground and plucked out his eyes. So this is Vīrabhadra, giving very strong reaction to everyone. Sorry, I just got disconnected, got connected, and there was a little mess up. But then again, this is all a part of life, because any offline program we will have, parking problems, traveling problems, and so many other things. So similarly, online programs also will have some problems, and that is part of one's life. So just a minute. Yeah, so sorry. So this was the reaction given by Vīrabhadra to Bhaga. The Bhrigu was caught, his mustache were plucked out, Bhaga's eyes were plucked out. Again, they are from the demigod regions. Eyes must have restored or something like that. But the point here is, whenever there is an offensive environment, always to stay away from such offensive environment. Later, we will see in the 10th canto when the Rukmi was laughing at Balaramji and the king of Kalinga. He was just showing all his teeth and laughing, like that. Balaramji became so angry. He first killed Rukmi and then, did the teeth surgery for this king of Kalinga also. So same thing is happening here, just as pastime of Balaramji chastising king of the Kalinga. Text 21. Pushno hi apata apayatan dantan kalingasya yatha balah shapyamane garimanihi yah ahasat darshayandatah. Wow, the same example. Translation.
Translation. Just as Baladeva knocked out the teeth of Dantavakra, the king of Kalinga, during the gambling match at the marriage ceremony of Aniruddha, Vidura knocked out the teeth of both Dakṣa, who had shown them while cursing Lord Shiva, and Pusa, who by smiling sympathetically had also shown his teeth. Purport. Here a reference is made to the marriage of Aniruddha, a grandson of Lord Krishna. He kidnapped the daughter of Dantavakra and thereafter he was arrested. Just as he was to be punished for the kidnapping, the soldiers from Dwarka arrived, headed by Balarama, and a fight ensued amongst the Kshatriyas. This sort of fight was very common, especially during marriage ceremonies when everyone was in a challenging spirit. In that challenging spirit, a fight was sure to occur, and in such fights, there was commonly killing and misfortune. After finishing such fighting, the parties would come to a compromise and everything would be settled. This Dakṣa yajña was similar to such events. Now, all of them, Dakṣa and the demigods Bhaga and Pusa and Bhrigu Muni were punished by the soldiers of Lord Shiva, but later everything would come to a peaceful end. So this spirit of fighting between one another was not exactly inimical, because everyone was so powerful and wanted to show his strength by Vedic mantra or mystic power. All these fighting skills were very elaborately exhibited by the different parties at the Dakṣa Yajña. Hare Krishna.
So just as Baladev knocked the teeth of Dantavakra, the king of Kalinga. So the demon Dantavakra is different, and he is the king of Kalinga. This Dantavakra is different. During the gambling match, Vīrabhadra knocked down the teeth of both Dakṣa, who had shown them while cursing Lord Shiva, because he was speaking and his teeth was being shown, and Pusha, who was smiling sympathetically when he was showing his teeth. So everything was taken into account and everybody was punished. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains the reference of this Baladevji's knocking down the teeth of the king of the Kalinga to the marriage of Aniruddha. And this is how the whole pastime is being here. Prabhupada writes here, it is very common during those days to have such fights and even have some misfortune during those fights and killing and everything. And people will show their strength. And here we can see that demigod Bhaga, Pusha, Bhrugumuni, they were all punished by the soldiers of Lord Shiva. But there was a spirit of fighting, and it was not long-lasting enmity. It is not like a gang war. Now, then somebody else will fight with somebody, then their children will pick up, then their friends. No, not like that. Everyone was so powerful. Everybody wanted to show their tejas. Somebody wanted to show Brahma tejas. Somebody wanted to show their own Kshatriya teja. Somebody wanted to show their own Kshatra tej. And they just exhibited that, and they very elaborately made exhibition of their own tejas. But immediately it came down to, the talking terms, and the life just continued as it is. In Kali Yuga, what has happened is people are less powerful but more inimical or vengeful, right? People are very less powerful but very very vengeful people are. And therefore, for a devotee it is always very important that yasminno udvijate lokonno udvijate chayah harsham harshabhayodvegai mukto yah sachame priyah. Or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu very simply says this: amanina manadena kirtaniya sadahari. One should not act, speak in such a way that people become udveg because of us. And when people speak like that, one should, remember that golden statement of Srila Prabhupada. One's greatness has to be estimated by his ability to tolerate provoking situation. This is the practical meaning of amanina manadena. And, one should, because Kali Yuga, what happens is that people are very, very vengeful. People are less powerful, but very vengeful. Previous time, that was not the case. People were extremely powerful, but they were not very vengeful. They fought with each other, just like, children, they come to the ground, they will do kusti, they will even slap each other, this and that, and go crying home. And next day, same children will come and they will start playing. Sometimes children will come fight and go home, and parents will continue their vengeance, right? Children will be playing like that it is. So this is the difference between those times and these times. So therefore, in Kali Yuga, it is better not to pick up enmity with people, and follow the behavior of Yudhishthir Maharaj, like Ajata Shatru. Text 22. Akramya urasi dakshasya shitadorana hetina chindannapi tat urdhvatum na ashokra triambakastada. Translation.
Then Vīrabhadra, the giant-like personality, sat on the chest of Dakṣa and tried to separate his head from his body with sharp weapons, but was unsuccessful.
Yeah, then Vīrabhadra, he caught hold of Dakṣa and he wanted to behead Dakṣa. So here Vīrabhadra is called as Trambakaha. Trambakaha means teen aankhon wala. So Vīrabhadra also had 3 eyes, and that's why you get the name Trimbakeshwara. So Trimbakeshwara means, Lord Shiva's place who has 3 eyes. So Trimbaka means one who has 3 eyes, and therefore there is a place called as Trimbakeshwara. But he was unable to do so because Daksha himself was very powerful. Now here also one can say Daksha is also going to be beheaded very, in a very butcherly way. He will be butchered with his head, but again his head will be restored and things will continue like that. So enmity is not lifelong enmity. Jhagda kiya, bhul gaye, chale gaye aage. Sometimes, we may be in this mood, we may comment on somebody, but the other party may not take it like that. And therefore it is always, safe to be careful better to err on the safer side. Because, we may make some comment. Sometimes what happens is that, we make very light comment, very jokingly comment, and we have no malice in the heart, but the comment is, laughable. People will laugh at the comment. But we don't know how the other party is going to receive that comment. So we have no control over how other party is going to receive and perceive that comment. And if the other party takes that comment as offense or, something like that, then we are in a trouble. And therefore, aajkal to, I don't know what is your experience, but my experience is such that, even with very close friends, I try to be guarded and not to make any, any leg pulling kind of a comments that we used to make previously. Because what happens is that everybody grows in life, everybody becomes respectable in their own way, and we don't know how people are going to take our comments. So it is like better to give all respects everywhere. Amanina manadena. So this is so. So Daksha was extremely powerful, and he was not able to behead. Why? Uh, Trambaka here, Vīrabhadra, was sitting on his chest and trying to cut his throat. So this is the situation. Text 23. शस्त्रयस्त्र अन्वीतै एवम् अनिर्भिन्न त्वचं हरः विस्मयं परमापन्न दध्यौ पशुपति चिरम्. Translation.
He tried to cut the head of Daksha with hymns as well as weapons, but still it was hard to cut even the surface of the skin of Daksha's head. Thus, Vīrabhadra was exceedingly bewildered. Hare Krishna.
So here the Pashupati, word Pashupati is used for Vīrabhadra. Chiram, for a long time, he was trying to cut the head of Daksha. He was cutting with the weapon as well as he was chanting, the mantras to cut the head, but he could not even scratch, right, the skin of Daksha. This is how Daksha was extremely powerful. And thus Vīrabhadra was exceedingly bewildered now how to follow the order of Lord Shiva, because this Daksha is also extremely powerful. So another thing here is that sometimes a very powerful personality may commit some mistake. And, in spite of committing that mistake, it is not that the powerful personality is just reduced to zero. No, he remains at that power. Of course, here Daksha is going to be severely punished. But again, Daksha is going to be reinstated in the power and position with the head of the goat. But the point here is that not to criticize somebody when somebody is in a disadvantaged position, right? Because Mahi Assam, the great people, they always come back, they bounce back in a very big way. So here Vīrabhadra was completely bewildered because he was for a long time he was trying to cut with weapon and the mantras. He was unable to do so. Text 24. दृष्ट्वा सन्नपनं योगं पशूनां सपतिर्मखे यजमान पशोकस्य कायात्तेन रहक्षिरः. Translation.
Then Vīrabhadra saw the wooden device in the sacrificial arena by which the animals were to have been killed. He took the opportunity of this facility to behead Daksha. Purport. In this connection, it is to be noted that the device used for killing animals in the sacrifice was not designed to facilitate eating their flesh. The killing was specifically intended to give a new life to the sacrificed animal by the power of Vedic mantra. The animals were sacrificed to test the strength of Vedic mantras. Yajñas were performed as a test of the mantra. Even in the modern age, tests are executed on animal bodies in the physiology laboratory. Similarly, whether or not the Brahmanas were uttering the Vedic hymns correctly was tested by sacrifice in the arena. On the whole, the animals thus sacrificed were not at all the losers. Some old animals would be sacrificed, but in exchange for their old bodies, they received other new bodies. That was the test of Vedic mantras. Vīrabhadra, instead of sacrificing animals with the wooden device, immediately beheaded Daksha to the astonishment of everyone.
Yeah. So Vīrabhadra was bewildered and he was looking for a weapon, and suddenly Vīrabhadra saw the wooden device in the sacrificial arena for which is being used to kill the animals, sacrifice the animals in the sacrifice the animal in that yajña, and he picked up that device and he utilized that to behead Daksha. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains that generally people have the idea that animal killed means flesh is being eaten. Okay. So if one goes to the place Pashupatinath in Nepal, thousands of animals are killed and you cannot just stand the sight of that place. It's very, very difficult. Thousands, literally thousands of them are killed. Many times they, credit this activity to many horrifying, the earthquakes in Nepal. because of the the pain wave being felt by the animals, that is being stored in the soil, and that is being coming out in the form of so many earthquakes and so many natural the calamities within the Nepal. So general understanding people have is animal is killed means flesh is eaten. So that is not the case. Prabhupada says just like in the modern day, uh, even in the modern age, the tests are executed on the animal bodies in the medical laboratories. Similarly, during the olden times, the test of the success of the yajña was conducted on the animal by sacrificing the animal, and instantly in front of everybody's eyes, the animal will receive the new body and walk away from the yajña. Right. So, and the animal is also happy because he suddenly got the new body instead of the old body, and the people also got the confirmation that yajna was successful. Mantras were chanted properly, and all the paraphernalia was pure enough, and the yajna is successful. But generally nowadays people have the understanding that animal is killed means they must be eating the flesh. That is not the case. So in this case, what happened is Vīrabhadra, instead of sacrificing the animal, he sacrificed Dakṣa only on the Dakṣa Yajna. So this was, very, very astonishing to everyone. Text 25. Sadhuvada tada tesham karma tatasya pashyatam bhuta preta pishachanam anyesham tat viparyayah. Translation.
On seeing the action of Vīrabhadra, the party of Lord Shiva was pleased and cried out joyfully, and all the bhūtas, ghosts, and demons that had come made a tumultuous sound. On the other hand, the Brahmanas in charge of the sacrifice cried out in grief at the death of Dakṣa.
So when Daksha was butchered like this, there was a different reaction. The Shivagana, Bhuta Preta Pishacha, who had accompanied Vīrabhadra, they were extremely happy. Sadhuvada, they were saying, wow, 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 very good, well done, what you have done. And all of them, they were in great pleasure and started dancing, seeing the activities of Vīrabhadra. Whereas the other party, Tat Viparyayah, Annesham Tat Viparyayah, the other party, they were filled with so much of lamentation and grief, and they were thinking, what has happened? This is Daksha Yajna, and Daksha is only sacrificed in that Yajna. And they were, greatly shocked. Text 26. Juhave tatshirat tasmin dakshinagno amarshitah tat devayajanam dadva pratishtita guhyakalayam. Translation.
Vīrabhadra then took the head and, with great anger, threw it into the southern side of the sacrificial fire, offering it as an oblation. In this way, the followers of Lord Shiva devastated all the arrangement for sacrifice. After setting fire to the whole arena, they departed for their master's abode, Kailash, purport. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 4th canto, 5th chapter of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam entitled Frustration of the Sacrifice of Daksha. Hare Krishna.
So, Juhaviti Shirah, that head was taken, and in great anger, Vīrabhadra threw that head to the southern side of the sacrificial arena. So, the sacrificial arena itself is a huge place. Sometimes, when we see the Yajna Kunda, which we do some yajna in the house, we may see some 2x2 yajna kunda. Right, but this was the huge size of the sacrificial arena. In the southern side, the head was thrown, offering as an oblation to the sacrifice. And this is how the Shivanugas, they destroyed the Daksha Yajna. And then they were so angry that they set the entire arena on the fire, and thus decided to go back to Lord Shiva, that is, abode of Kailash. So this is how we conclude 4th canto, 5th chapter, frustration of sacrifice of Daksha. So we will conclude here little early and continue tomorrow. Tomorrow we will have, some any question answer kind of a session, and then we will break till 30th. From 18th to 30th, we will break. For Diwali break, and then from 31st onward, we will continue with 4th Canto, Chapter 6, Brahma Satisfies Lord Shiva. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
Hare Krishna.
Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Prabhupada, thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji Dandavad, yes.
Okay. Prabhu, sorry. Thank you, Prabhu. Prabhu, in text 12 purport, Prabhupada mentions Vīrabhadra yesterday when we read that one. Who is this Prabhuji? Vīrabhadra? Do you know about
Great personality. We will discuss this tomorrow.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Okay. So Vīrabhadra Acharya's commentary, there are 15 Acharyas whose commentary is referred by Srila Prabhupada. One of the prominent Acharyas is Vīrabhadra Acharya.
Okay.
So we will see this tomorrow.
Prabhu, one more question here. After setting fire to the whole arena, the last sloka, they departed for their masters aboard Kailash. So, are we referring to the Kailash in the spiritual world, or is there some other place in this material world which is Kailash in this universe?
Yeah, right. So this is the Kailash within the material domain. So the another domain which is beyond the material domain. Brahma Samhita talks about this. Devi Mahesha Haridhama Suteshu Teshu. So Devi Dham is Durga Devi's Dham is this material world. Mahesha Dham is Kailash. So that Kailash will be explained later. So they departed for Kailash. It has many connotations. Like we go to Badrinath. So when we go to Badrinath and personality like Madhvacharya goes to Badrinath, there are two different Badris exist even within this realm, right?
Okay.
So there Madhvacharya went to Badrinath and he went to Badrikashram. He met Naranarayan Rishi there. He worshipped them and then he came back. But his disciples could not follow that ascent. So so it is like that. So when we say they went to Kailash, so one has to understand that reality existing on different planes.
Okay.
Just like a simple example is Badrinath is existing here, right in front of our eyes. Many devotees go to Badrinath, do Char Dham Yatra, and Madhvacharya also going to Badrinath, but it was totally different. Madhva going to Badrinath and we going to Badrinath, or even Pandavas going to Badrinath, right?
Yes, Prabhuji. So it's not. We
Thank you,
have
Prabhupada. Yeah.
we have Kailash here near in Himalaya, so that's what people go. But then there's another Kailash where these people went.
Yes.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah, something like that. Or Pretas Guhyakas, they went to this Kailash, and others Vīrabhadra and Nandishwara, they went to the original Kailash.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you,
Okay,
Prabhuji. Thanks. Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah. So Bhagavatam is, in a way, Bhagavatam is training us not to fully understand everything, because soon we are going to approach 5th canto, where there is universe is being explained, and the universe explanation is such that we think we have understood, and by the time we think we have understood, we realize that pata nahi kya what we understood. So those chapters are going to come up.
Yes, Prabhuji.
So what is important is we are not required to understand everything.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yeah. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Right? Yeah. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.